Plaintiff, Rosie Robinson, says when she was 4, her mother told her that she had a brother who was given up for adoption. After years of searching, Rosie now believes the defendant is her long-lost brother. So she petitioned the court for a sibling DNA test. Defendant Richard Peterson says he had a wonderful childhood, and his parents treated him like a king. Richard claims on his father's deathbed, he confessed that Richard was adopted, so he is eager to find out if Rosie is his sibling.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
All right. And we are here today for a sibling DNA test. Is that correct?
Yes.
The best type that you can get, you come here.
Yes.
If you want the best DNA results, come to Judge Mathis.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's
Absolutely.
right. That's right.
Best judgments, too.
I'm a philosopher. I'm a judge. I'm a political leader. And now I'm
scientist.
Physician. Scientist, I discovered, and then physician, I applied.
Right.
Ancestry.
First, I analyze y'all.
Yes.
It hits my hands first.
Yes.
The judge, you want to handle this? Look at it. I said, yeah, send it on to the lab. Tell you how it go.
That's fine.
Judge, the lab results back. Okay. Send that back. Telling you the process, y'all, so you can trust when you come here, you're getting it accurate. Y'all heard the process.
That's it.
All right. And give me some background.
Okay, when I was about 4 years old, my mom had told me that she gave my baby brother up to be raised by another family. So one day...
When you were 4?
Yes, 4 years old. She told all of us at a different age. I was 4. I remember at the age of 4. Okay. So one day we were all at our grandmother's house. Me and my siblings were at my grandmother's house, and my mother told us to go outside the door. Well, I have a nosy older sister. She said that she got on her tippy toes and she looked inside the door, the screen door, and she said she saw my mom pass my brother to this family.
You had known him?
I didn't know nothing. I was about 3 years old when this happened. Okay, so as the years went by, I thought I saw him in New York, but I don't know for sure it was him. But anyway, to make a long story short, my mom took ill, and at the year 1996, she before she passed away, we were all in California. She had asked our siblings to go find my brother. So
why do you think she waited until the end?
I don't know. We'll never know, but she just told us to find my brother. So we had 2 pictures of Richard, and I had gave them to my older sister, which she lived in Pennsylvania. She took the pictures home, and she worked like at the Salvation Army, so she couldn't find them, so she sent the pictures back. Okay, so I got the pictures back. So I have a good friend that lives in California. It's my best friend, I put it that way. So I went to his house and I said, I didn't have a computer, so I said, could you do me a favor? I said, could you put this picture on the computer? I said, and I'm going to title it, I'm looking for my baby brother, Richard Peterson. Okay, so I gave it like about 2 weeks. Nothing came back.
Who'd you send it to?
I just put it all over the internet at the time. I just posted it, just said, if you recognize your picture, there's a whole bunch.
Posted on what sites, though?
I don't even remember the site. I just posted. Okay, so then I waited like a couple weeks, nothing happened. So I came back. So my friend said, well, let's do Myspace, I think it is. So he did his profile. He was doing everybody's profile we could think of. And every week I would come over, nothing. So it was like maybe 6, 7 weeks went by. I just said, forget it. I quit. I don't even care no more. I said, I'm not going to find him. I said, I got to tell my siblings we can't find him. So he said, I have one more try. So he took his daughter's MySpace. Okay, and we're 2 different nationalities. Okay, so 3 pages of a Richard Peterson popped up. And when you see the pictures are this big. So we opened up the first 2 pages. That wasn't him. We got to the 3rd page. Before we even open up the page, I start crying because I told my friend that was my brother. He goes, "How do you know?" I felt in my heart. So we opened and enlarged the picture. So then he told me to be very careful. He said, because sometimes when people are given away, he said that they don't want to be found. So I said, okay. So I took out the time and I told him that my name was Rosie Robinson. I told him that my mom gave him up when he was about 2 days old to another family that was raised in another town. And I said I was looking for my brother. I said, if you're my brother, I said, could you please call me? I left my phone number. So like 4 or 5 days went by. And then he had to tell you what happened after that.
I'm a philosopher. I'm a judge. I'm a political leader. And now I'm
Scientist.
physician. Scientist, I discovered, and then physician, I applied.
Right.
Defendant Richard Peterson says on his father's deathbed, he confessed that Richard was adopted, and he believes the plaintiff may be his long-lost sister. So he took a DNA test to find out the truth.
You want to give me some background and then catch me up?
Yes, I will. Well, Your Honor, today I'm truly grateful to be here, in front of the great Judge Mathis. It's an honor to be on the show. I just want to start out to say that I had a wonderful childhood. The people that raised me, they treated me as their only son. I was treated like a king. I had the best of everything. I know, comparing my life to like my friends growing up, I saw how like some of them was, mistreated. Some didn't have things. When I was always fortunate. Always had
What city?
stuff.
Where did you live?
Well, I grew up in New York. We first lived in Brooklyn, and then we moved to Hempstead, Long Island. Was when I spent the majority of my childhood growing up. So, like I said,
Roosevelt?
huh?
Isn't that near Roosevelt?
Yeah, Roosevelt is like 2 towns over. 2 towns over. That's where Eddie Murphy's
It's
from
a
there.
middle-class black area.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
whole area,
yeah.
part of Long Island.
Yeah, murder. And then you got Freeport. That's where Public Enemy, all those guys, they're all from that. I knew all of them growing up. Yeah.
Good. Well, they
Yeah.
came out well. Their point of view.
It was pretty good. I get to meet a lot of those people coming up, growing up. So like I said, I kind of compare my story to Moses. When the Pharaoh, when the Pharaoh wanted to destroy all the babies, the lady put him in a basket and sent him down the river where the queen picked him up, and he had the best.
Beautiful.
That's how I compare my life story.
Oh, and who did you help?
Huh?
Who did you help? Ain't no Moses helped the people. How about you, Mo? Don't stop short on the Moses story. Don't stop short on it. You gonna put yourself with Moses, doctor. You got to come with something.
Well, I didn't get that.
You didn't get something for a lot of people.
I'm still
working
on that part.
Until you halfway through that part, don't mention Moses.
Okay, Judge. She got
He was given the privilege, and he used the privilege as God would have him to.
Yes, that's true, Your Honor.
So you need to use that privilege as God would have you
needed
to.
to, yes,
You
you're
know
right.
you coming here, but that's where I'm going.
Yeah,
I'm going community. Anybody, and particularly in the African American community, if y'all coming here talking about how good you're living, you were a drug addict and now you're not. I want to know what you're doing now for us.
Yes. That's part of.
Because we got a lot of
Amen.
people. And white folks, I hope y'all don't mind, but I feel a responsibility to my community.
Yes.
And the better I empower my community, the less problems there are in my community.
Yes.
And I don't have to worry about what people are doing on the outside of my community. Because my community be all right. Like other communities, like when you go to other cities, ethnic communities, they all do business with each other.
Right.
They look out for each other.
Yes.
And that's how I feel about us. We
Okay.
need to.
Yes,
So I'm
that's true.
challenging all you middle class who then came up, and we got all us poor black people still here waiting and hungry and thirsty. Y'all need to come come back and help us.
That's true.
All right, so don't tell me what you're doing good unless you're going to say and end up saying, and I'm helping the people, Your Honor. I'm mentoring a young man, trying to show him the right way.
Right.
I go to church and I got a youth men's committee that does youth projects. Something.
That's true.
There you go.
That's true.
All right.
So continuing on with the story, I grew up. Eventually, I had a run-in with drugs, drug addiction, and that kind of led me astray. In between that, before I really started getting into the drugs, my mother had passed away, and so my father.
You weren't like Moses, you like Noah.
Okay.
Did Noah get caught drunk and naked? Right, son. Yeah. Our Ham caught it, and Ham laughed at him, and one of the others covered him up. And they say that's why Ham, so-called, was cursed and banished to the land of Cush. Ha-ha, watch out, doctor.
You got me.
Go ahead, Noah.
All right, so anyway, growing up, my father had remarried. My mother had passed away. I got into the drug thing. I wasn't doing too good living in New York. He left and went to Kentucky, where his second wife was from. And so he reached out to me one day. He says, son, I know you're not doing good. He said, I want you to come down here with me. Maybe you can straighten up your life a little bit and be something before I die. Well, I lived with him for a little while. And
Where?
We lived in a town called Lynch, Kentucky.
Okay.
Okay. It's like kind of
But
like
how was your life there?
Well, Lynch was pretty good.
You were able to overcome your drugs?
Yeah, I overcame the drugs for a minute. I relapsed,
In that same town?
In that same town,
okay,
yes.
so it doesn't always work leaving the environment.
Yeah,
You're
no.
ultimately going to find some more drugs somewhere.
Yes, that's right.
Go
that's
ahead.
right. Eventually, yes.
So
I relapsed
when you're ready.
So then he got sick, and he told me on his deathbed that, well, son, I really have something to tell you. He said, you're not really our. You are adopted. And then eventually, he passed away. So I tried to do some research and to find out what was going on. But everybody that knew the story was gone.
And that's how I feel about us.
Okay.
We need to.
Yes,
So I'm
that's true.
challenging all you middle class who didn't came up, and we got all us poor black people still here waiting and hungry and thirsty. Y'all need to come back and help us.
That's true.
All right, so
Amen.
don't tell me what you're doing good unless you're going to say and end up saying, and I'm helping the people, Your Honor.
Defendant Richard Peterson says on his father's deathbed, he confessed that Richard was adopted, and he believes the plaintiff may be his long-lost sister. So he took a DNA test to find out the truth.
Everybody that knew the story is gone, but nobody had ever told the story because they wanted to shield you from knowing the truth about your biological parent.
I don't know. I don't
And then
know.
at
Whatever
the end, he didn't mind you knowing the truth.
I guess they don't. I guess certain things. When you tell people certain things, they grow up certain way, animosities and whatnot. And people would ask me, they said, how do you feel that you found out you adopted? Do you have any animosity against your birth mother, siblings? And I said, no. I said, I guess so in her mind that she couldn't raise me, so she did the next best thing, gave me to people that she knew that would take care of me. And
what I'm hearing from you and others should observe is that you were of the maturity to understand and put your arms around it and not be angry. And you're absolutely right.
Yes.
Many children will feel that way.
Yes.
But when you become emotionally stable and mature, that is a good time to tell. So
yes.
I applaud,
Getting back into it, I was then married. I had 2 stepkids, married. So one day I'm looking at the computer and I get a message in my inbox. And that was before Facebook and Twitter and all that. We had the Myspace. So I looked at it and it said, I might be your brother, But I look at the picture where it's coming from, and no offense to white people. I mean, I'm like, they're white people. You know, white people in my family.
Yes,
So
you
I'm
do.
thinking-
Yes, you do. I don't know what you think.
Well, I mean,
You better go do a DNA. You do got some white in you.
so I'm saying.
Boy, the only one in here don't have no white in him. Go ahead.
So anyway, y'all.
Go ahead.
I can't get through this, okay? See, I had these all in my mind prepared. You just.
Go ahead.
So anyway, I opened the message and I read the message, and she had mentioned some keywords.
But how's the white folks? You say you saw?
I saw the picture of, you know, when you get the message,
Scroll.
and they put a picture like who it's from.
Right.
So in the inbox, so I look, and it was a bunch
What
of.
do you think happened?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it might be a scam. Maybe
Okay.
somebody's trying to reach out to me, and maybe they're gonna ask me for money somewhere down the line. But anyway, I opened the message and I read it, and she had mentioned the key to the puzzle is my uncle. I knew him as Uncle Nat. They called him Uncle Fluff, but his last name was Barney, and I saw the name Barney. So I had reached out to another relative that was Uncle Nat's daughter, and I reached out to her, and I talked to her about it, and I said, yeah, you know, I got this letter, and I said, this lady claims that she's my sister, and she mentioned your father and mentioned the last name. So she told me, well, I don't know, Richard, you know, I don't really know anything about it. Look into it. You know, give it a call and see what's up. And then, you know, you make your own decision. You know, you talk to her, see what it is. And if it's don't pan out, you know, just let it go. So I called her like a couple of days, like 4 or 5 days later.
4 or 5 days later.
Yeah, 4 or 5 days later, I called her. And as soon as I spoke, I said, hello, can I speak to Rosie? She knew who it was. And she was just boo-hooing and crying. I'm like, okay, but I'm still, you know,
Not sure.
you know, yeah, I'm just taking it with a grain of salt. So anyway, I was working nights at that time, and the time was getting close for me to go. And I said, listen, I got to go to work, but I will call you back. And she said, will you call me back, please? Promise. I said, listen, I will call you back. I promise you. But I didn't contact her for like 2 or 3 weeks, you know, because I'm still processing it in my mind. And then one day I just reached out to her. And then she kind of explained the story. She said that she was there, and she saw I was like 2 days old or something, and she saw the mother give me to these people that took me to New York and raised me as their son. Now, the only thing I have in my mind, you know, back in those days, I guess you could get away with raising a kid. You don't have to have a birth certificate. How did they give me? I didn't have a birth certificate. They got me through school. I went to 2 Catholic schools, and the rest was public school, on a baptismal certificate. That's all they had to show that I was, I guess, their son. And that's what they used. And that's how I got. But, you know, today you cannot, you know, if you ain't got that birth certificate, you know, you got problems. But that's how they got me through the school, high school, doctors, and, you know, everything like that as their son. That was the one thing that baffled me. But I say you can't do that today. That was,
How that was
yeah. So we reached out, we communicated over the years, and we talked about things. I know a lot of things she said about family, especially Uncle Nat. I said, yeah, that's true. So I said, you know what? I said, I believe we are related. But what we're doing here today is to put an end to the chapter, put an end to the circle, find out, you know, what's going on, a big closure.
So we opened up the first 2 pages. That wasn't him. We got to the 3rd page. Before we even opened up the page, I start crying because I told my friend that was my brother. He goes, how do you know? I felt in my heart.
Defendant Richard Peterson says on his father's deathbed, he confessed that Richard was adopted. and he believes the plaintiff may be his long-lost sister. So he took a DNA test to find out the truth.
And it isn't as much necessarily as for you all, for your children and grandchildren. In other words, children not even here yet. They'll know the relation that existed. And that continues to exist through your adopted family and through the family that your biological family. Yes, you wanted to say something else?
The reason why I wanted to have the DNA test done because I lost 3 siblings, and I've been communicating with Richard for 26 years, and I told him that I lost 2 older brother and older sister, and at the time, my brother who passed away, he was supposed to be the baby boy. So I told him, I said, you know what? I said, I don't want to keep going on because there's only 3 of us alive. It's, my older sister, my baby sister, and me. We're the only 3 alive. I just want to close the chapter because...
All right, well, it's closed now, and you all are half siblings.
Oh my goodness. Oh, man. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I love you, Rosie. I know it was deep down. I know it was. Thank you.
I closed the chapter, and I get to go, even though my mom's not there, but her remains is in the ground. I get to go and tell my mother that I found them. You don't know how much. 26 years we've been talking. 26 years, and I just told him I had to do it. I thank Judge Mathis so much. Oh, you guys just don't know.
I'm just so excited. I'm so excited, man. I put a close chapter in my life. I know now my circle is complete. I know about where I get my feelings from, how I handle situations. I know it's all in the birthright.
Thank you so much.